So this morning I had a client contact me quite upset because she had been and printed a pile of photos that I took last weekend at Kmart and was very disappointed in the quality. And this was something I'd been wanting to test and address for a while, so I've actually done that this morning. I already had sample test prints from the professional lab in South Australia that I am affiliated with, and I've been this morning and done prints at Officeworks and at Kmart. And I thought I'd do a bit of a video talking about the results. It is a little hard to show, particularly inside my house doesn't have the greatest lighting, but I'm hoping that I can show you the difference between retail stores and a professional lab. Firstly, I just wanted to highlight that the Officeworks photos all have a somewhat purple tint to them, which has the effect of making a lot of the greens and the background colours quite dull. The other thing with all of the prints I had done at Officeworks, and I don't know if I'll be able to show it, I'm going to put a spotlight on, is they all have, and if you can see to the arm there, every single image has multiple blue lines horizontally across it. So there's one across her face, and you can see them where his arm is, that there's 3 blue lines. Actually, there's 4. There's another one there at the bottom. You may not be able to see it. And they run right through the width of the image. So right across the middle of her face, you can see that. By comparison, this same image from my professional lab, and we are getting some reflection. I'll try and angle it. But that's a true black and white with no colour. And you can see we've got some reflection there. You can see the quality of that versus the colour and that print issue, the purple tint to Officeworks. What's even more shocking though is when I do a comparison with Kmart. So in this image, it's pixelated, it's fuzzy, the skin tones are red. So that's the Kmart. Then this is Officeworks, which is much smoother, but the colour tones are quite muddy and off as a result of that magenta. And although you can't see it in this colour image, the blue lines are there. You might be able to see it just above my thumb on that tree. And by comparison, this is the professional print from Aitken's. So much truer to colour and no purple undertone or pixelation. It becomes really apparent how poor Kmart's quality is when you have a look at a black and white. So I'm going to go in quite close on this, and you can see just how grainy and pixelated that image is. This is the same image. You can see that magenta already from Officeworks. So it's much smoother, but the colour is clearly off. And then this is the Aitken's Pro. So a true black and white with no distortion and no pixelation. And I can show you that same image in colour. So this is the Kmart. And you can literally see pixels if I didn't have shake from holding it, but how poor that quality is. Officeworks, much smoother, but somewhat muddy coloured. You particularly look at his hat. And by comparison, this is the professional lab, and you can see the contrast and the texture and just how much detail is in that Akubra. If you look at the crown, you can actually see the fabric. Whereas if I go back to the Officeworks and I look at the crown, that's my dog barking, you can barely see the texture. That's been lost. And this one you can actually see through the crown of that hat, that horizontal blue line. So I've always said to clients, I don't care where you print, but I understand budget and money can be an issue. But after seeing these sample prints and the difference between them, I do have to say that I can no longer recommend printing at retail stores such as Kmart and Officeworks. I haven't done test prints at a camera store such as Ted's. I would hope that their quality would come in better than Kmart, but I don't expect that it would be as good as Aitken's. And theirs is the only printing that I can actually vouch for and that I will guarantee. So I hope this has been helpful. It's been somewhat of a shock to me. I knew there'd be a difference, but it is far greater than even I anticipated. You just have to look at these two black and whites at the bottom. The left being the ProLab and the right being Officeworks, to just see. So whilst it is tempting to go for the cheap option, this is something clearly where you do get what you pay for.